Hi, morning traders. How are you? Welcome to another session of Market Snapshot. And the reason why we do this is because you really need to understand that the market is moved by by news, right? That's why every day when you wake up, you might want to look at your economic calendar, have a look at Forex Factory, have a look at trading economics to get a view of how the markets are playing out. So going into it, being on a Wednesday, we don't have any high volatile news. However, at 4:30 a.m. we had the CPI news that came out quite positive, quite high at 2.8% against the expected 2.3%. And if that happens, everyone who was in the mentorship class yesterday said that in such a scenario, then the Australian dollar would strengthen, right? If it would have come out weak, maybe 2.2, 2.1, the Australian dollar would have weakened. So we'll get to our charts later, but then let's first analyze this. So without any much high volatile news coming in during New York session, that means the markets will be moving technically. There will be no fundamentals to push the market. Now, there's something interesting that has played out, and I want us to look at a country that has been hit with the 50% tariffs, which is India, right? So, India has been accused by Trump of supporting the Ukraine war. Uh, through the purchase of Russian oil. But India, in their own defense, they're saying that Europe is also buying products from the US. China has also been buying oil from Russia because it's discounted, right? Because remember, Russia was kicked out of the global market. So uh, what that means is for Russia to survive, it had to discount its oil so that it can continue funding the war and even their own economy, right? So India has been taking up almost 50% of their oil from Russia, and I'm sure this is Trump trying to play hardball because remember, US is now the largest oil producing country, right? So they would want to twist India into buying oil from them so that it's a win-win for Trump. We all know it's a win-win situation, right? So we can see based on that, the Indian rupee took a hit, and some of the products that will be affected includes textiles, clothing, gems and jewelry, shrimp, leather, footwear, chemicals, machinery. Others are exempt, like pharmaceuticals. I mean, Trump will not have increased tariffs on pharmaceuticals because that would have meant the prices of drugs would have gone up, right? Energy products and electronics remain exempt. Now, the problem is the other countries who are coming in to fill that space. Remember, nature abhors vacuum. So we have Vietnam coming in, Bangladesh, Thailand, China. They are taking up these orders because the prices of the Indian goods have gone up with the 50% tariff. So these guys who don't have such high tariffs are now getting in, and orders from India coming down, and orders from Vietnam, Bangladesh, China, Thailand, they are going up. Now, that is a risk to Indian economy because remember, India is still trying to get its people out of poverty. And that means some of these things like the clothing industry, it's quite big in India. It's employed millions of people. So that's a risk. And this is where now like PM Modi is like, okay, let's do made in India, build India. Let's try and buy our own stuff. But is that enough really to kind of support businesses that were depending on the export market? We all know export markets, you can't compare them with local markets, right? The export markets will give you more money. Something that is worth maybe 100 rupees in India, in the US, it's probably worth 300 rupees, right? That means more income. So that's something that India has to balance and see how uh, to mitigate against losses based on that export market. Will they stop purchasing oil from Russia? And what will be the effect of that? Because remember, industries in India, the transport industry is depending also on this oil. So it's a balance that will be a headache for PM Modi, and I believe this is where now the Reserve Bank of India will have to come in with some interventions. I don't know what kind of interventions they'll come up with because the tariffs went into play today, but of course I'm sure they had planned this out. So let's see how that happens moving forward. So if you have an exposure in the Indian market, that means you need to look at companies that have exposure in let's say, um, clothing industry, they are listed in the stock exchange, right? Those ones, you can be sure that it will be a deep sell because they are about to lose out their markets in the US. Companies in the gems and jewelry, companies, footwear, leather, machinery, those companies, anyone that is listed in the Indian Stock Exchange will definitely have to take a loss, and that means that will be a short on those companies. So that's a global opportunity for someone will be like, okay, how do I leverage on this? At times we have these conversations. Is it ethical to take advantage of a company that is losing out the market, and yet guys are losing out? I'll let that decision come from you. Yeah, you'll have to determine whether it's the right thing to do. So, without much fundamentals with regards to the US, with regards to Europe, with regards to uh, UK, and even Aussie, New Zealand, let's go to our technicals and seek trading opportunities, see where the markets will hit, and see where the opportunities will be based on those price movements. So let me share my MT5. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll cover them towards the end. Okay, so we'll start off with GBP/USD. This is an analysis I had done yesterday in the mentorship class. Remember, we have mentorship sessions. This is a progress from the beginners class, right? So once you've handled the beginner session, what is a PEEP, what is a lot size, the basics, right? How to execute trades, all that. Then you get into the mentorship class where now you get to learn more stuff, trading strategies, how to manage your risks, how to have a trader's mindset, and all that. So yesterday we had mapped out a possible. Initially, we were looking for a bearish move and then a bullish move to this area, and from this area, then of course you were looking for sell opportunities, right? And we can see price got to our area, and all of a sudden, GBP/USD is down 58 pips from our area of resistance, which was a take profit area, right? And the reason why we're looking for this, it was because of something called the Asian high. The Asian high is an area where you'll identify sellers, and that's why we were looking at that as a possible take profit area if price would have come to this area. So what are we looking at moving into New York session? So let's remove this analysis, go to higher time frames. So I want to map out an area here where I feel we could encounter some bit of support on the weekly. So going to H1, I'm trying to map out, we could see some bulls coming in from yesterday's low, right? You can see this area. If you go to lower time frames, you'll probably see some reaction from buyers, right? As you can see right now. So there are some buyers from yesterday's low trying to push the market up, right? So will that be enough? I don't think so. I still believe we should probably see a further downward move on GBP/USD. So I'll probably be looking at a continuation of a sell, maybe to that price level or all the way to that low, which is last week's low, right? The low that was set up on Friday before the markets moved during the Jackson Symposium. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at on GBP/USD. like I've said, we could see some bulls coming in due to yesterday's low, right? This area. Yeah, you can see some bulls coming in, but I don't think this is long lived. It's more of a weak support. But then again, our work as traders is to react when price gives us a certain pattern. In our case, we don't have that pattern, which is what you refer to as a bullish candlestick pattern, right? Those who've attended, once again, the beginners class, sorry, the mentorship class, you already know that those are some of the areas where you'll be looking for opportunities to enter the market. So I still anticipate the dollar to be strong, maybe moving into New York. But once we get to New York, we'll see some short opportunities coming in. So let's see how price reacts to these areas. Yeah, that's GBP USD. So you could see a spike to this low or a continuation and then a reversal on that one. Let's go to Euro USD. Euro USD, we were looking for a possible sell and then a buy. Our take profit was here. Once again, this is what you will call the Asian high, an area with sellers, right? And we can see now that Asian high, which was an area of resistance, acted as a strong resistance. And we can see after that, Euro USD came down 73 pips so far, right? So what do we want to see on Euro USD? Let's map out this pair afresh. There's something I can see here, which is last week's low, the low that was set up on Friday. That could act as a possible uh, buy area. Yeah, so I would want to see Euro USD come here to this area. And then maybe from there, we could be looking at a bullish move to yesterday's high. That's probably what I would want to see on Euro USD. Yeah, so yesterday the price tested the low of Monday. See, the low of Monday was tested and there was a bullish move of 61 pips, right? So if you identify these lows, they'll really come in handy when identifying opportunities. So let's see how price reacts to this low, because we're already at an oversold region as part of our in one of our confirmations. So maybe 15, yeah, 1582, right? That's an area I would want to see Euro USD test before taking on that bullish move. Or about gold? Gold, we were looking for a possible sell and then buy. Didn't play out as expected. But then again, we can see our area of resistance was also acted a little bit as an area, as a possible short area. And gold went down almost 50, 55 pips. Not 55. Yeah, 60 pips. 60 pips before going up, and then we can see the bullish move. So what are we looking at? Let's map out gold afresh. So remember, due to tariffs, India, they're quite big when it comes to gold. I think Indians, in terms of households, there's no community that has gold holdings like the Indian community. Like, they love their golds. Most of them have stored their wealth in golds, like physical gold, be it earrings, be it jewelry, all that, right? So uh, most of the guys are hedging what's happening in the US by buying more gold, because the expectation is that prices of gold will go up. Yeah. So I'm looking at a bullish move on gold. But first, if it was to test this area, it will be a good one. It will be a good opportunity for me. Kindly remember, this is educational analysis, right? We are just mapping out areas based on what we've learned. So I would probably want to see gold test that area, or even this order block. Gold can easily come here before going up. Yeah, it can easily test this order block, which is what you call a bullish order block. The last bearish candle before a move up that broke structure. So you can see this structure was broken, right? So that's an area where I would want to see gold come to, maybe before going up, right? So remember, once again, these areas may fail to be hit, right? But then, as a trader is someone who sticks to their trading plan. You would rather miss out on some trades, but make sure that you're following your plan, right? Because we've seen situations, if you've been trading for long, you've seen situations where you chase trades. Like right now, you'll be like, oh, gold is buying, okay, you end up taking this trade, and then price gets maybe to an area, and all of a sudden it starts going down, right? And it comes to those areas you had initially mapped out, but failed to follow that plan. So instead of going through such emotions, why don't you just stick with what works? If it fails today, trading is like a bus. There'll always be the next bus coming. So there'll always be the next trading opportunity coming in. So just stick with your trading plan. So in my case, I think for me, I would want to see gold test these areas before considering a bullish move. So that would be my possible area of support. And the target, of course, will be the Asian low. What about Audi USD? Audi USD, we had identified two areas, right? So we've seen the news, the CPI news that came out, and the Australian dollar came out strong, right? So that was this spike. Those in the mentorship session, this is the 430. If you look at the bottom, right, the 430 candle, yeah, and it almost came to the area we had mapped out as a possible area of resistance. Didn't get there, which is okay. And then, of course, we can see the bearish move, and that was the high. So in this case, this will be considered the weekly high, the high that was set up on Monday, right? So on Monday, the market formed a high. So this was the area where we were looking for a possible take profit if price would have come down before going up. So we can see it turning as resistance. So let's go to Audi USD. What are we looking at? We have a possible buy area here, 10 pips away. On H4, last week's low. Okay, that's not an area I would be looking at right now. Knowing Australian dollar, not unless there was some high impact news on the dollar, then it's rare for us to see a move to this low. Okay, so I think Australian dollar is testing out yesterday's low, like we've seen on GBP USD. As a possible buy area. So yeah, that's a possible buy area. I would probably want to see how USD breach this area. It all depends on this candle. If this candle closes in a bullish engulfing, a morning star, a hammer, or bullish tweezers, then that will have confirmed that these areas are buy area, right? But then right now, I would still want to see how USD come down to this area, and we've mapped out and seen that on the daily there's a moving average which could act as a possible support area, and we can see initially it has acted as an area of support, right? This was, I think, 4th August, right, when price came to that, tested that moving average again, and there was a bullish move of how many pips? 115 pips. So let's see how price reacts when we get to 64.59, 64.60 on AUD USD. So if we get there, then probably we could see some bullish move to the Asian high, that one. Okay, so let's look at NZD USD. NZD USD, we were looking for a drop and then a buy and then a drop. So didn't play out. It didn't give us a sell. So what do we do? Let's reanalyze this. Yesterday's low, it's an area where NZD USD is coming to weekly. Okay, so yesterday's low is a possible buy area. Then I will probably be looking at this candle here, 58.12 as a possible area of support. So just like AUD USD, how this candle closes will be key on these moves. If we see, like for example, I can see a possible bullish. If we see a bullish engulfing forming here, then this will be a possible buy, right? So NZD USD is also at that area, and it has tested yesterday's low, right? Just in case the market decides to breach, we also have another area, 58.12. So let me map out these. You can see it's breaching that area. I don't know whether it's a fake move, but how this candle closes will be key. You see why it's very important for us to look at confirmation candles, right? Because if we see a sell candle, that will tell you that the price is coming to test the next area of support, right? So we'll probably test this area and then take on a bullish move to yesterday's high. That's a 55 pips move, right? Alternatively, nothing stops NZD USD from rising based on this move. It all depends on this candle, because another confirmation is that on the RSI we already have the extreme 30. So a good extreme will be good. I mean, if we were to see a further spike here, this will be a solid buy, an almost solid buy. But then again, remember, in trading, you must use risk management, guys. You must use risk management. Let's look at USD CHF. USD CHF, we were looking for a possible bullish move and then a sell to this target. The target was the Asian low, the opposite of the Asian high, right? So this was the Asian low. Guys, look at that. Price came to the Asian low, and then it was tested today in the morning, right? When the markets opened, then all of a sudden there was a bullish move of around, it's going to the 50 pips, right? Almost around that price level. So let's analyze these afresh. Go to higher time frames, H4, now daily fast. There's a resistance here, courtesy of the moving average, the 50 EMA. This is the strategy I'll be training today at night, 8 to 9 p.m., right? So make sure that you sign up for the beginners class. How do you sign up? Go to the description below. You'll see where to learn, right? You'll see a video saying learn. Go to FX Pesa evening. Let me show you. FX Pesa evening. That's where you'll see follow this link to learn how to trade on the go, right? So go to that FX Pesa evening, register, and I will see you later. Yeah. Okay, so we have a possible resistance here at 50.77 on USD CHF. There's also another area I would want to map out just in case price decides to breach 77. We have 80, 87, 10 pips away. So those are areas with sellers, strong sellers. So I would probably also want to map out this one. This is an order block. This is a bearish order block. The last bullish candle before I move down that block structure. That is 80-80. So those are areas where we could see some strong sellers. So possible drop from here, 50 pips to the Asian low or even yesterday's low. Either there, or if we have an extreme move, right? Because extreme moves can happen, like we can see here, right? This move, where there was an extreme move. If that was to happen, then it will be a solid area. 80-87 would act as a very strong resistance. But then 80-77 so far looks like an area where I would be looking for opportunities on USD CHF. So let's see how price reacts to some of those areas. The other one, USD JPY, it has come to an area I had mapped out as a possible resistance area. So initially it was hit. It tested yesterday's low. Let me show you something. So you can see this was yesterday's low. Let me block these. So this one was yesterday's high. Sorry, not low. This was yesterday's high. So today during Asian session, you can see traders came to that high and all of a sudden there was a drop of how many pips to the moving average? Let me see. Yeah, almost 25 pips drop. Yeah, so we can see that area being tested. Let's reanalyze this. Go to higher time frames. Identify areas with sellers. One area where most likely NZD, sorry, USD JPY is coming to is that moving average on the weekly. You can see that moving average on the weekly right here. 148.07. So you can see how that area has been tested before. Look at those candles, right? Being rejected, right? So you can see that red. You can see that area closing with a shooting star. You can see this one, this one, this one. So let's see how price reacts to that area. It's a, how many pips? 14 pips move. So that's an area of interest in USD JPY. How does it react to that area? Let me see, M15. There's also another block here, 148.54. That's a possible area where USD JPY could go to. Yeah. So let's see how price reacts to this high on USD JPY. If we breach this area, then there's a high likelihood we are coming to 148.54. This is where now we'll see some strong sellers. Let's look at USD CAD. USD CAD, we had two areas. Go to higher time frames. One is yesterday's high as a possible area of resistance. The other one is H4. That's also an area. But before we get to that high, I'll probably be looking at this moving average acting as resistance. Yeah, so we have two areas, 68.74, 68.67 as possible sell areas. So if price gets there, then we should probably see some bearish move to that low or even to yesterday's low. Finally, UT100. This is the only trade that played out as expected, right? As we can see from our mentorship yesterday, we were looking for buy opportunities. Our first take profit was here, and the other one was here, right? And the reason was, remember, you must have a reason when it comes to trading, right? As you can see from our charts, I can explain clearly why price came here. Why? Because it's structured, right? So the reason why we had mapped out these was because of yesterday's high, the high of Monday. Yeah, this was an area where we expected to see some sellers, and we can see, look at how price reacted to that area today. Yeah, so that area has been acting as resistance. So let's look at the moves on UT100. I would want to see price test this order block. So go to that one, H1. If let's remove everything, it seems to be so noisy here. Go to H4. You see this order block here. This order block is yet to be tested. So I would want to see price come to this area on UT100. There's a tip I shared yesterday with the guys in the mentorship class. Anyone who can remember? Anyone here on timing? 4:30, right? The 4:30 candle. Look at that. This candle over here, the 4:30 candle. There's a secret, guys. Anyone who's watching this, go to your charts at 4:30 on Nasdaq, right? UT100. Every day, 4:30. See what happens during that time, and you'll get to appreciate when the sessions open, right? So this one, I would probably want to map a possible area of support. That's an area I would want to see UT100 come to before going up. Maybe a sell to this area before a bullish move. That's it on these pairs. Of course, let me have a look at your questions if there's something that you would want me to look at. The fact that Trump ousted one member, Lina, not yet. Cooks is not yet out. Remember, the Fed has been like, it's an independent body, right? So the Fed has said it does not recognize that, right? Because there was a Supreme Court ruling where one member of the labor, was it the labor authority, who was removed, and the Supreme Court said it was okay. But when it comes to the Fed, this is a totally different body. And trust you me, no one wants a body that can be, especially when it comes to finances, that can be interfered with by a president, or politics gets into the way of finances, right? That becomes messy, because a president can wake up and say, hey, I appointed you, I want you to do this. That's why they have their tenures are secure, right? Just like we have in Kenya the IBC, but we all know in Kenya what happens at times. IBC politics plays around, and you're told to chuck. So the same thing has been playing out. But then Cook is still, she's decided and the lawyers are going to court, but she's still, according to Fed, she's still an employee. The problem would have been if the Fed would have let her go, right? But now the Fed is like, no, you're part of us. Let's do this in the court, and everything else we'll see how it plays out. But Trump, we all know the goal is to make sure that interest rates are coming down, and let's see. There'll be a possible rate cut in September. Thank you, Florence Robinson. Hey, Robert, which period do you use when you the EMA? We use the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, and the 800 EMA. Those are the moving averages we look at. Please make sure that you attend today's class, Robinson. I'll actually be training this strategy, the EMAs, right? So just join down here under the description. Just go to every Monday and Thursday. There's that FX Pesa evening class. Register for that class, and you'll definitely be there to learn. No other question. So thank you, guys. Let's do a recap of everything we've said. Where are the opportunities? Let's go to GBP USD. Oh, you can see yesterday's low has held, right? You can see a hammer, a possible hammer playing out, right? So this is what I was saying, that it could hold or not. It all depends on the candle that forms around this area. So to me, I would still want to see gold test this, GBP USD test this area. Because I know how this pair behaves. At times it's volatile. It could trap you into thinking it's a buy, but unless I see this second leg at the 30 region here, I would sit on my hands on this one. I'll probably sit on my hands on that one and wait for it to get here before considering a move. We could miss this one. There's a high probability it could miss this 33.89. But this one could be a solid area. That 423, that 419 could be possible buy areas. What about Euro USD? So you can see the candle has closed with a wick because of last week's low, right? This one, the low of last week. So this is an area with buyers. These are buyers reacting, trying to reject the sellers. So this could hold. Let's see how price moves. Let's see from M5. Yeah. Euro USD could be bullish from that price level. Once again, educational analysis. Gold. I'll probably want to see a bearish move before considering a bull on gold. Until then, I just sit on my hands. Audi USD. We still have this area acting as a possible support. So this is, according to my trading plan, this is a more solid area. Yeah, but then if we close in a bullish engulfing here, that means a candle that is bigger than this sell candle, right? If we see a much bigger candle, that will have confirmed that yesterday's low has strong buyers, and we could see a bullish move coming in because you're already at the 30 region. Those who've attended our class, you already know the confirmations that we look at. NZD USD, once again, yesterday's low acting as a possible area of support. So it all depends on how that candle closes. If it closes in a bullish candle, that means the buy candle, the blue candle is bigger. Like you see this scenario here where you have a strong buy candle. This means that this area had buyers, right? So if we see a similar pattern playing out, then that will have confirmed that that area is strongly bullish, and we could see now a possible buy on NZD USD. USD CHF didn't get where we expected. We can see a strong evening star pattern. That's an interesting one on this one. So it has hit yesterday's high. See yesterday's high. This was the area of resistance. So that is where these buyers were rejected and closed in a shooting star. And so there's a possible sell move with the confirmation here. USD JPY. For some reason, I would still want to see USD JPY test these highs. Once again, look at yesterday's high. Is the one that is acting, right? Actually, on this one is the weekly high, the high of Monday. The weekly high is the one that is acting as some area of resistance. So we can see a sell candle could go short, but then I'll still stick with a possible more bullish move either here or here before selling. USD card, it's yet to test yesterday's high. So what has it pinned? Is it another block? Is on. Yeah, it has pinned another block over here before considering that bearish move. I'll still be looking for a bullish move on this one. The confirmations are not yet lined up. So UT100, we've said we are looking for a possible sell to this price level. Once we get here, then maybe we could see some bullish move to that order block here on my left. That's it, guys. Thank you for your time. See you in the evening for those who will be attending the beginners class, and tomorrow some phone trading if you're interested in phone trading. Right? Otherwise, that's it. I think I can call it a day. Bye bye.